go all in on what you're trying to do. If it doesn't work out and you're 21, 22 years old, you have a lot of time to figure it out.
Beyond the Blueprint podcast, welcome back. We're sitting here with Jeff Driskel in episode 2. I'm your host, Branson Bowen, and we're going to jump into some business stuff and some things that Jeff's working on and in his acquisition model and how he kind of goes about that. So you want to talk a little bit about what you guys do, what your core markets that you focus on, and then we'll kind of go from there.
Yeah. So I guess it was about a year and a half ago, I came across this model. It's called ETA, Entrepreneurship Through Acquisition. I love the model. Read all the books that are out there, got in the Twitter world, started, e-dating these Twitter profiles. And, like we mentioned on the first episode, the network expands. So I had a lot of exposure to people that have done it and done it well, people who have failed and, what their pitfalls were. And after about 6 months of research on, basically how to buy a small business, I decided I got to go find an operating partner. And really start to look for something to buy and operate. So we started in March of 23 and we closed on a white collar service business in, Q4 of 23. So early into the acquisition, but have learned so much along the way. And it's been a great experience and a lot to learn still, a lot to execute on, but things are going well so far.
Sure. And so what type of markets do you guys focus in and what do you think that trajectory looks like for you guys?
Yeah. So the way that I've kind of positioned, the way that I think is people are the center of any business, right? Let me go identify the leader, right? Let me find that person that I think can drive an organization. And then when I find that person, hey man, what industry do you want to be in? So the first leader that I found kind of came from a white collar background, was more comfortable in that setting. So we said, let's go find, a white collar industry. So we searched for something of a certain size. We didn't want something too small to where we were just buying a job. We wanted to buy something with some infrastructure, with some management in place. With a track record of success, but we also didn't want to buy something too big and bite off more than we can chew.
Sure.
Because I've never done it before. I didn't want to take on outside capital. I definitely want to take some bumps and bruises, with our own money rather than, taking on other people's money for, I don't want to call it the trial run because this is a really, really good company, but didn't want to prove the model with somebody else's money.
Sure. And so as you guys focus more on the white collar side of things, what does that look like 5 years from now? Is this your positioning? Because the company has 4 pillars, right?
Yep. That's the quote unquote holding company. Our holding company has one operating company, but yeah.
Yeah. And so like the next 5 years, is this a strictly buy businesses and hold play? Or is this just more opportunistic of, we'll sell if we position right and we'll go ahead and exit and go into something else? Or are you trying to build a portfolio?
Yeah. I mean, I think everything's opportunistic, right?
Sure.
Like we're in the process of, implementing the EOS framework and, the 5-year goal section in there, it's 3-year goal, but there's a couple line items that you're supposed to fill out, but that's a 5-hour meeting right there. Right. So I don't know if we have, a specific 5-year goal. If I had a gun to my head right now, which I don't, I would say we want to be in the business of buying small businesses that have been around a long time, that are recession resistant, and we want to build them to hold them over the long term.
And what markets are recession resistant in your eyes?
Oh man. So, I mean, things that people need, right? Like septic, we'll look at a septic company, right? If there's poop coming out of your tub, it don't matter if the Dow's down, 20% that day, you're going to figure out a way to get a septic company to come out and look at it.
Sure.
When you look at professional services, right? Business to business type of companies, it's proven to be more recession resistant because those businesses have deeper pockets.
Sure.
They're willing to write those checks a little bit easier than call it a homeowner or an individual. So I think in every industry, there's certain segments of that industry that are more recession resistant than others. But yeah, so didn't answer your question that well. But.
That's fine. So, obviously, you had mentioned you didn't want to take outside capital. You want to get some bumps and bruises along the way, which is really admirable. And I think that there's a parallel there between your career and football, right? So you got to where you are now with some bumps and bruises along the way. No pun intended, because you broke your ankle.
That ain't it. We got to extend this podcast if I got to talk through all my injuries.
So how has that kind of mindset helped you along as this business type of stuff starts to kind of build out? But that internal fortitude, that work ethic, that dealing with the bumps and bruises, overcoming challenges and hurdles, how has that helped you that you've dealt with that in your football career now getting into business?
Well, I know there's going to be bumps and bruises.
Sure.
Right? Like if I never had bumps and bruises before, it would be, unanticipated. So just knowing that they're going to come up along the way, and knowing that in the past I've figured out, a way to get past them and come out better the other side. I think that's kind of, how we walked into this thing was, what do the bumps and bruises look like in this world compared to, another life? So that's kind of the thought process there.
Sure. Do you think that there's a strategic advantage in playing sports and getting into business?
I think so. I mean, in order to succeed in business, you have to have a work ethic. You have to have competitive drive. You have to be a self-starter. I mean, there's a reason why, businesses all over the country are recruiting former college and pro athletes to work for them. They have the stuff that no one can teach.
Sure.
They might not have the hard skills that, other individuals might have, but the soft skills are the ones that you can't teach. And yeah, I think that it's just, it's a unique individual who can do 2-a-days and wake up at 5 a.m. and work out, and do all the things that are required of pro and college, athletes that just a lot of people haven't been exposed to. So they actually know what hard work looks like.
Sure. And there's a level of discipline and consistency that you need in business that you have to have in sports.
Yeah.
And so, obviously I think there's a ton of parallels in the sports world and in the business world. What do you think are some challenges by being an athlete into the business world?
Yeah. I mean, somebody who has played at the highest level for now 8 years, you start to think maybe a little bit higher of yourself than maybe you actually are, right? Like if I can go do it in football for this long, I can easily go do it in the business world, right? Like I'm this larger than life, character. No matter what I do, it's just going to work out, and it's going to work out easy. And, you have to reel it back in and just constantly remind yourself, you're not at that position like you are in football in this world. You haven't spent the time required. Go back and look at what it took to get where you're at in football.
Sure.
It's going to take that in the business world. And it's just, starting from square one.
You almost have to do like a self-reflection.
Yep.
Of like what that process looked like.
Yep. And then, sorry to cut you off.
You're good. Go ahead.
And it's just, some of the hard skills, right? Like the first time I had like a Zoom meeting with somebody, I didn't know how to work it. Like I didn't know how to share my screen. Like, what am I doing? I don't know how to do that. But I learned how to do it after that.
Yeah.
And it's just stacking up those, those small things that you don't know what you don't know.
Sure.
And it just compounds over time.
Sure. So let's talk a little bit about your network. What kind of people do you prefer to surround yourself with?
Yeah, I love people. That's the easy part of getting into this business world is creating relationships. I love being around people. Meetings with no agenda sometimes are, fruitful 2-3 years down the line.
Sure.
But as far as the types of individuals that I'm looking for, to really spend some time with are like-minded. They're competitive, they're driven, they're experts in their field. But even further than that, they're really good people. What's their relationship with their wife and kids look like,
Sure.
right? What's their reputation around town? Are they in this for just dollars and cents? If that's the case, that's probably not the person that I want to associate with, because that's not why I want to get into the business world. obviously it's a huge factor, but it's not the only factor.
Today's episode is brought to you by Bryce Knuth of Insurance Office of America. As a contractor or real estate owner in Florida, you've likely experienced the impact of rising insurance premiums year after year. With the challenging insurance marketplace, having a specialist who focuses on your industry is critical now more than ever before. If you'd like a second set of eyes on your current insurance program or don't have a relationship with your current broker, please contact Bryce Knuth at 407-697-6944 via call or text, or email bryce.knuth@ioausa.com. Don't let rising insurance costs catch you off guard. Reach out to Bryce today. Sure. So what does success look like for you? Obviously you've had this career in football, and it's been very successful. You've been able to play at the highest level, which, statistically not a lot of people can say. What does that overall success, so 40 years from now, what does that look like for you?
Yeah. So I want to, when I'm done playing, I want to be able to create professional purpose outside of football. And I want to be able to create wealth for my family outside of football. I don't think there's a specific number on what that looks like. I don't have a set revenue goal or, income goal, but, I want to just sustain the lifestyle that we've gotten accustomed to, over the years in football. And I want to enjoy what I'm doing every day. I did an exercise a couple years back, what does your perfect day look like? And it would be hard, it would be really hard to get that perfect day, without really building something with a strong foundation. So it's going to take years to get to that point. But in that perfect day, there's a lot of work in there. Like, I enjoy it, right? Yeah. And especially working towards doing something significant with other people. So it's vague, but I know that I'm doing it with other high-level people. I know that I'm making an impact, on the people that I'm with each and every day, whether it's, clients, employees, coworkers, whatever that looks like. So yeah, just enjoying what I'm doing.
What do you want to be known for?
I want to be known for doing things the right way. When I'm at Chick-fil-A or something and I see somebody that I did a business deal with, I want to feel super comfortable introducing my wife to that person.
Sure.
I don't want to say, oh crap, there's that guy that I screwed out of that deal. Let's not make eye contact here. I want to be known for doing things the right way and doing it well.
Sure. So as we kind of wrap up, what's some advice that you would give to young, entrepreneurs that are looking to get into this entrepreneur game, and how they can kind of position themselves to be successful, whether that's surrounding themselves with like-minded individuals, surrounding themselves with people who push them, getting with companies that push them? What would you give someone, just getting out of college, like, I want to be an entrepreneur? What's something that you would say to them?
I'm going to try not to go off on any tangents here, but I know it's going to happen. I think when I sat down and did that exercise of what does my perfect day look like, it was really monumental in how I thought about life after football. Because there was a period of time where a W-2 job sounded great, right? Like, there's security there, there's balance in life there. But in my perfect day, nobody would hire me.
Yeah.
That I'm not working from just 9 to 5, right? Like, I'm working before that, after that, in there. Maybe I'm taking the kids to school. Maybe I'm, going to go to a lunch meeting, whatever it is. So I figured out pretty early that I'm not built to be a W-2 employee, and some people might be. So really figuring out what's best for you and your lifestyle and attacking it from there. And then when you figure out what you want to do, you got to do research. You got to read the books, take the courses, listen to the podcasts, really spend intentional time knowing what you're getting into and building a foundation when you do start to build your network that you can have intelligent conversations. Mine was 6 months. That's how long it took for me to feel comfortable, getting into the space that I'm getting into. But when I felt comfortable, I did it. and then do it.
Execution.
Yeah. And then just go do it.
Right.
Don't just think I got to go read 3 more books or 5 more books or, in 2 years it's going to happen. It's do the research, do the work, jump in, learn some more.
Right. Well, I think there is a major benefit of just drinking water from a fire hose.
Mm-hmm.
And I think obviously that's different depending on your personality type. For me, that's what I like to do. Just jumping in the water, can't swim. I'm just going to figure it out when I get there. And I think other people have different personalities, which is okay. But I definitely believe that you have to do that interpersonal work within yourself. I mean, I think, your exercise of what does your perfect day look like is major, because I think what that provides is a little introspection on what you really want out of your life and what you really want to see out of your life.
Yeah. If you don't have a North Star,
yeah, right.
It's tough. You don't know where you're going.
Right. And then you can almost do some research. So how do I get to the perfect day? Now, granted, I mean, I don't know about you, but having that perfect day is probably pretty seldom, right?
Yeah.
But it's a guide that gets you there, that then you can figure out, okay, I want to be a successful real estate developer. Well, I need to learn stuff about real estate. I need to surround myself with people who know about real estate, who've done it. I need to be in networking events. I need to read the books, listen to the podcast, and then I need to execute. Yeah. Now, that may not mean that you're going to, graduate college and go do a $20 million real estate development deal.
Yeah.
But you can then position yourself to get to that point. And it takes time, and it takes bumps and bruises along the way.
Yeah. And I mean, you talked about the networking piece and getting in front of the right people. Like that's huge. And that's something that I didn't take advantage of in college. And I wish I would have, because it was teed up for me to do that. But yeah, it's the network expands really rapidly. And when you start hearing the same name over and over again around town, that's someone that you need to circle.
Sure.
And go buy them a lunch.
Sure. And so last thing, and I'll kind of do a twist on this, what's some advice that you would give to college athletes?
Go for it. Going into college, 95% of players want to go to the NFL or to the MLB or to the NBA, whatever it is. Go for it, man. You got 4 years, 5 years in some cases, to really go pedal to the metal. Go for it. Be a great teammate. Be a person that coaches love to be around, because they're the ones that are telling these GMs, owners, and head coaches, what's this guy like to work with on a day-to-day basis? Go all in on what you're trying to do. If it doesn't work out and you're 21, 22 years old, you have a lot of time to figure it out.
Right.
So I would just say go for it.
Are you ready to go beyond the blueprint? Introducing Nexus, the ultimate game changer for commercial real estate and development professionals. Nexus revolutionizes how deals are made and projects come to life. With our cutting-edge SaaS platform, we're revolutionizing the built environment, making your workflow seamless. Vendors gain instant access to opportunities tailored to their needs, while organizations find consultants, vendors, and contractors with a click of a button. Our all-in-one mapping and deal-making interface powers municipalities and site selectors to shape the future of cities nationwide. Join Nexus today and be a part of the future of commercial real estate and construction. Visit our website now to pre-register and get immediate access to what is to come. Visit gonexus.us. The power to transform your project starts here. And what advice would you give someone who just got drafted?
Ooh, that's a good one. Don't spend all your money. Don't try to keep up with the Joneses.
Yeah.
It's super easy to do. You walk in the locker room and the guys that you've looked up to are now your counterparts, and they're driving the nice car. They live in the big house, and they've made a ton of money. They've been around long enough. Don't try to keep up with the Joneses, because it's short-lived. Sure. Most people don't play as long as they would like in their careers, end prematurely for one reason or another. So really, really keep your money, be a good teammate. And, you have 6 months in the off season in football. Just, try to network a little bit, try to figure out, what circles do I want to run in when I'm done, and really just set a foundation for when you're done. 'Cause if you inch towards what you want to do when you're done a little bit in each off season, you're going to,
Sure.
make up some more ground than you think.
Yeah, and then someone that's just purely focused. And I would imagine that's hard to do, right? You're trying to you make the roster, you're trying to start, you're trying to put the work in.
In the off season, though, I mean, how long can you really work out for every day?
Yeah, right.
You work out for a couple hours, take a nap. You still got the whole day in front of you.
Right.
Go do something.
Yeah.
If you're out there networking and talking to people and getting in the right rooms, you're also not spending your money. So you're killing two birds with one stone there.
Yeah. Staying busy, staying out of trouble.
That's right.
Right. All right. Let's end with some rapid fire questions.
All right. Come on.
What's something new happening in your life right now?
T-ball.
T-ball.
Yeah. My 3-year-old girl is on a T-ball team, and I'm helping out coaching, and it has been awesome. But you can only tell, 10, 3, 4-year-olds to run to first base after they hit it so many times. So, the coaching needs to be a little bit better, I guess.
What scares you?
The direction that I'm parenting my kids. You think you're doing things the right way. You do the best you can. And, sometimes I just get scared that I'm not doing it, the right way.
That's fair.
Yeah.
You got their life in your hands.
Yeah.
What's something, no, not new. What's something that most people don't know about you?
Most people don't know that I lived in Japan for 3 years growing up. My dad was a Navy man. He went in when he was 17 years old, retired when he was 37, and his last stint in the Navy was in Japan. So come from a long line of military guys, and spent 3 years over there. It wasn't quite like Tokyo Drift, but it was a good experience.
Who's your inspiration?
My inspiration, probably my dad. My dad is my inspiration, and I probably would not have said that years ago. He's somebody who was so selfless raising my brother and I. I mentioned he retired when he was 37, and most guys when they get out of the Navy they go do something else, and he stayed at home. He poured into my brother and I, coached us up, spent some much needed time with us, and it wasn't until later in life that I realized how selfless that was.
Mm-hmm.
With my ego standing around a barbecue, people talking about work, and I got nothing to add to the conversation, I would feel really uncomfortable.
Mm-hmm.
And he did that for years.
That's big. That's big. What, how do you start your day, and what are the things that you really try to focus on during your day?
Yeah. So I try to start my day, with getting in the Word, whether it's, 5, 10, 20, 30 minutes. I try to start every day getting in the Word, and it doesn't always happen. I'll hit that snooze button and then I got to take the kids to school or whatever. But I try to start my day there. And then throughout the day, I try to stay on a calendar, and things get busy and you get off your calendar. But, I try to have some level of people interaction, whether it's coffee, lunch, playing tennis. I try to get in front of somebody every day. When there's no office to go to, it's not easy to just find somebody to hang out with during the day.
Sure.
I try to just inch forward in what I'm doing off the field and stay ready to go for football stuff every day. So it's a juggling act of moving forward in the business world, staying ready, and getting in shape for the upcoming season and spending time with family.
Yeah. What's the biggest compliment you've ever received?
So I've gotten this compliment from a handful of like Gator boosters or older Gator folks, was that they really admired the way I handled the situation at Florida. Came in as number one recruit, was supposed to be the guy that delivered the next national championship, and it didn't happen. Ended up getting benched, ended up getting booed at home, and I never retaliated, put anything out on the internet. I just really, really forced myself to handle it with class, and I didn't want to. But I knew it was the right thing to do, and people noticed.
That's good. If you had to ask or tell God one thing, what would it be?
I would tell him, thank you for the ups and downs. Obviously, the ups are easy to say thank you for, but the downs, I think, have catapulted me into new heights in my career or in my life. I mentioned, I was saved due to a broken leg. So I'm thankful for that broken leg.
Sure. That's awesome. You want to leave the audience with anything?
Oh, in the past year and a half, the best decision that I made was finding somebody to go at the business stuff with, right? I wanted to at first do it by myself because it was easier. Figured out, hey, I'm not smart enough. I don't have the bandwidth to do it. Well, maybe I'll just wait until I'm done playing. I'm happy that I jumped in and can tell a story that, we're buying businesses while I'm playing in the NFL.
Sure.
So I'll just leave, surround yourself with the right people, and communicate well, good things, bad things, and things will turn out, positive.
That's awesome. Well, Jeff, man, I appreciate it. It's been great to have you on the show, and I wish you the best of luck in both, business and the rest of your career in the NFL.
Yeah, always a fun conversation, Branson. Thanks for having me on, and really enjoy listening to the podcast and the value that you bring to, the listeners and myself included.
Awesome. Thanks, man. Beyond the Blueprint, this has been episode 2 with Jeff Driskel. Make sure you like and subscribe to the channel for more episodes like this. We have a great season 2 lined up with some amazing guests. I'm your host, Branson Bowen, and we'll see you next time.